right, so today's video, we're going to be watching a Legend 2 D.Va on PC. Now, obviously, as you've seen in some of my videos, trying to make D.Va work has been a little bit more difficult against Zarya comp. So I'm very curious to see how this D.Va plays. I don't know if is this against a Zarya comp? Let me see what the comp is. Against a Rein. Still, Rein Zarya I find to be difficult matchups. So I get to learn. Maybe this will help me get better at D.Va on Stadium because I you know, maybe there's a bit of a wall we've hit with trying to figure out those combos and maybe we, you know, we find something that works here. They say, hi, I have seen you use a melee D.Va build before, but I have perfected it. This was in all capitals. In this game, I showcase a D.Va build that focuses on the melee playstyle while adding it to the ability to always have DM uptime and shoot as it's up. I use boosters to get DM back while doing a lot of burst damage with the melee and weapon power. This way, I can stop a target from getting healing while I shoot them and finish them off with Mecha Punch more consistently to get a domino effect going. This build can even work really well versus Zarya if you get the anti-beam item early on and hold DM while bursting her down. One thing I always said about that, I don't know about anybody else, the one thing I don't like about that, that power, keep in mind, it's great, it's a good power, is that you almost feel like you have to use it the whole game. And maybe you shift out of it later on, but that's what it always felt like. It's like you're forced to use that, and it always takes up an ability slot. I wish there was a way to, like, merge abilities, or, like, items that, like, cost, like, you get, like, an extra cost or something to, like, make it go into another item or something. That'd be kind of fun. But then maybe that would be too meta. That might be too meta. Anyway, it just random stuff. Anyway, it has carried me to Legend 2 and annoyed many enemy players. Definitely recommend it to any fellow Stadium D.Va players and would love to see you try it out. Okay, I might try it out. We'll see. Here we go. The build is Mecha Punch. We knew that. And then just grabbing some armor and then the Siphon Glove. So this start is normal, like a normal setup that I've seen. Deliver, sorry, almost every game. Yeah, so. And Gianni, thank you for the $2 super chat. Thank you. So yeah, the beginning of how you play D.Va here is exactly the D.Va, the melee build style. Like, this is a normal, like, style of the build, which is fine. This is a good build. And the way it works is you fly in, you melee. If you get a kill when you're doing that, you'll get another flight. And then with the Siphon Gloves, you heal up a little bit when you're doing so. So it's a very good build. It's target focus based though. Like, obviously you want to look for going for, like, the Mercy and things like that. But that was a good start for the other team. So, like, sometimes it's hard to, like, keep up with that start. You know what I mean? So I think that was a totally fine, like, go with things is what I'm getting at. Luigi, thanks for the Prime sub. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you. Rough start by the team, but that can happen. It's a good all-in. See, that's where you can get the Mercy on the melee, possibly. Good backline. Now remember, chat, the way the melee build works for anybody like new to the D.Va build is, like, you just need to go for squishies a lot of the time, but you can also, like, hard focus a Rein, especially when they have the comp that they have, because you can DM the heals. And I find, and actually it's why I've recently started to play a little bit more weapon power Juno, is that, like, if you have a Juno going ability power, the tank falls behind so much on heals with those type of comps. So. Yep, and now watch the flight. See how you get the flight back there on the melee? Now you get it again, see? This is where the build gets really fun. I've had a few of those where I'm chaining around, like you're getting Genji dash reset. It's amazing how fun it can be sometimes. A little bit ambitious in the back line, but that's okay, you know? It happens. It happens. What are we watching? We're watching a Legend 2 D.Va in Stadium. You got overzealous, it happens. We've all been there, don't worry about it. It's more about recognizing that you're being overzealous there, than you just swap up your gameplay going forward, you know? All right? Tap the point, nice job. Yep, you're doing the right play because the Siphon Gloves will keep you up a little bit longer. It buys time for your team. Big slam! Interesting nano choice there, because I think you were fine either way, but like I get it. There you go, backline pressure, perfect, good job. DM in the heals, that's exactly what you do. Then you target the Juno, become the target on the Genji, and you're in a good spot there. Now you just gotta keep doing what you're doing. Make sure to stay point, which I think you already figured that out. Oh, is it team nano? Oh, okay, that makes sense then. I was gonna say, I didn't know if it was a team nano. I don't know if Ana's picking up that early, so that's why I was wondering. Okay, cool. Okay, so rough start there, but it was a long round, and sometimes those rounds are good anyway because you can build a little bit of like charge. And we're going to go to the second round. Obviously a slow start there, but that's fine. So you got Gloom Gauntlet, armor, Siphon Gloves, charge plate in. After you spend an ult, you get armor. That's good. The ability power, and then weapon power compensator. Okay, yeah. So far, we're on board with the build because this is very like similar to what we're used to seeing on the builds. So that's good, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Ooh, nice start in the Rhine. Now you have those resets. Gloom Gauntlet is really good for like meleeing, so you get like more backline pressure, movement. It's really nice. Gloom Gauntlet's like one of the better abilities to like scale into later on, or early on. It's a very common, if you have any build that's a melee build, you can't go wrong with Gloom Gauntlet. Like if they just randomly added like an Ashe melee build, Gloom Gauntlet would be a go-to. It's very common in Genji builds too. What's cool about the D.Va one here is every time you hit a melee, by the way, you would know this, D.Va. Did they fix the, since you run the melee build against Zarya, did they fix the Zarya bug yet with the bubble? With the melee build? Or does that still exist? You still get it? Yeah, so basically, if you didn't know this, and I don't know if it's a bug or not, it might even be attended, because we have brought it up before to like the devs. When the bubble, if you melee the bubble and then the bubble disappears within that time, you get the reset on your D.Va flight. Normally you need an limb, but when you get the bubble, it counts and you get the reset again. Maybe they've left it in because against the Zarya. Yeah, the bubble will count as an limb, so you get like a reset on your flight again. Obviously, the bubble needs to be destroyed within a certain amount of time, but yeah. I wouldn't ult this, but you attack it. Good job. Good backline pressure. Rec, thanks for the 8 months of the tier 1. Thank you, appreciate it. Thanks. Try this build after. I might, but I'm going for Legend on support to get Legend on every role. So I want to try it, but I might also take a little bit of time on that. Good kill. Back to the backline. This is where D.Va thrives in these comps, is the moment the other tank isn't there. Because these like resets are so strong. Nice job. This is where the build really strengthens. The problem that the melee build ran into is that it scales kind of in a weird spot, and this is where it's going to get interesting, right? It's always it's not uncommon in the D.Va build, the melee one especially, to start off 3-0. Like you can literally start off 3-0 against any comp, but then the rest of the build after that just goes to like, you're just doing nothing. So that's why I want to see where it scales. Obviously you can't 3-0 this game, but you know what I mean, right? Like seeing where it scales, how it scales, things like that. You know? I like how you're just in their backline here. This is sweet. Because they can't really do anything at that point. You got to go back to the point. Ooh, maybe not. Hopefully no one to your right sees you. Yeah, that was my concern. A little bit ambitious there. We'll see if you get your suit back. If you get your suit back, then it's fine. Nope. See, with Gloom Gauntlet, it's a little bit easier to get your suit back there. Good nano. Ooh, nice try on that. One thing you can do there, by the way, whenever I know they have Shatter, I'll do the same thing you do, but like, have like an internal timer where you go up into the air like within half a second. Holy crap, this is good backline. That's yeah, you did the right play there. Nice job. Go to the point. Yep, you're doing well. You just gotta buy time for your teammates now. Up in the air. Yeah, you got this. Your team should get there in time. You can ult point. Ryan's kind of stuck on that. Shield's dead. Nice play. There you go. So yeah, so far, like, this is kind of how it goes with the melee build. We're going into round 3 now. D.Va is grabbing ultra wide matrix. So this was kind of where and actually, I think you were, Cabby, you were, sorry if I get your name wrong. You might have been in my chat when I was trying these builds out too. I can't remember because I think you were suggesting stuff. I found that ultra wide matrix actually is really strong as you scale. So I was very like, okay. So like Gloom Gauntlet, you get multitask, which means in this one, multitask mod. This was the one that I picked up too. And like, it's really strong because you just basically start firing a bunch of, like, you can start shooting while using your DM so you can protect yourself. Then you have solo spec, which also is really good when you mitigate damage. And then shield buster to go with that. So a lot of like, you get something for using your defense matrix, which is really strong. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I had that too, and I started the one-shot people. So now with the build is still, you still have melee build here. You're going to be a little bit weaker in some situations, but you're going to be really strong when your DM gets full usage. So like, you can melee squishy still and make those plays, but now your DM is much more powerful. So, but it's still really good to get the melees off because obviously it benefits from having that, right? Not bad. Slow start. I get a sneeze. Nice pick on the Genji. What are the new drops going to be? The ones today are going to be tier skips. Keep in mind, this is like part of the season where it goes end of the season has drops, beginning of the season has drops, and then we should have esports drops too. So we have a bunch of drops coming throughout the next like week and a half, 2 weeks. Did you gave me your sneezes? Oh, don't worry. My allergies do that for me. See, this is the part where I don't do this as much, where you swap the shoulders around corners that you're at. It is a good strategy. I don't do it enough. See? I don't even have it bound right now, I'll be real with you. Yep. Trying to play to keep your teammates alive. This is a good backline pressure because you can use your D.Va ult, and then maybe that will buy you some time. The only downside is the Bob, yep. The Bob was going to be the problem, but, I mean, that you can't, like, you know, you can't always prevent that, right? Ooh, nice pick. You should be getting backline resets. That was a good nano, too, by your Ana, because now you have these backline resets. You just watch for the Mercy to go in. Yep, this is where the mode really, or the comp really shines. When you start to get a numbers advantage, like, you don't have to worry about, like, trying to save your teammates. It's really well played. Backline pressure, you're probably going to get the point now. They might have one more retake, but this is one of those situations where, like, players have to decide, is it worth actually pushing in? Is it not? And you know, easier said than done sometimes. And this is where, like, your team will get the numbers advantage if you get the kills here. And you do. So now you're going to get the backline on the Ashe. The Ryan's going to be low. And what's cool about the ultra-wide matrix here, too, Chad, is you're also kind of accidentally eating damage you don't even know about, which is even better. Yep. Ooh, that could be a good Mei ult, especially if the Ryan... Oh, I thought the Ryan was going to maybe charge into it. It's a really hard spot to ult at, so you're doing the right thing by not, like, using your ult in the middle of the point, because it's better to use it as a survivability tool than anything else here on this part of the map. I've seen a few D.Vas try to use ult to get this, and I end up winning the team fights because of it. So, heck, I've probably done that too, you know? Good clearing of the area. Watching here, you're revealed. You're constantly matrixing while... Yep, no, it works. I can see where it works 100%. Heck yeah. Let's go. Not like you getting rolled there, just like this good matchup. I love these constant battles in middle. I don't know. It's just really fun to me. Am I stoked for the new Mythic D.Va skin? Oh, absolutely. Oh, that should be fine. Yep. I am looking forward to that for sure. All right, so you don't end up getting that. But again, it's okay because this goes further into the rounds. Or did you get that? Did your team win that or lose that? I didn't even see. Oh, your team won that. Okay, your team does win that. Okay, that's what I thought. And I'm like, no, your team doesn't win that. I get so confused because of the blue and the red on like the, you know how like it like changes every map? I get so confused sometimes because of that. Like it's like, oh, we're gonna switch it around. So now you're going into round 4. This is where no one can get a power, but you can start to get better items. So, and you can see where it's shifting, chat. So if you look at the build now, it's going into more of like the build itself is going into more of like a weapon power. So you have Eye of the Spider, which deals 10% increased weapon damage to enemies below 30 HP. So you can kind of like get targets down a little bit quicker. So that can be, you know, even more. You get the Suppressor, which applies the heal reduction, also 10% power. You keep Gloom Gauntlet to kind of go with Mecha Punch. Still have multitask and solo spec, and then you have Compensator. So you're at 60% weapon power, right? Sometimes you see a lot of people go into like ability power here. I mean, including myself, I've tried that. So this is a very good like kind of adjustment. And I'm kind of curious to see where it continues to go to. You said 10% increased damage, not weapon damage. Yes, I thought that was increased like weapon power, right? I don't know what buffs melee. If melee's buffed by weapon power, then it also buffs your melee comp. Either way, though, you're doing a lot of damage. Yep. There you go. Okay, I don't know if I'm just making up some stuff here, but like I feel like, doesn't this feel like this is almost like a multi-scale type of like build to where it starts off strong the first couple of rounds, slows down a little bit into another round, and then as you get more weapon power, it rescales back up again? Kind of how it feels. What do I do all the coins? I can't really do anything with it because I have all the items. It like double scales. So you have a round where like it kind of falls off a little bit build-wise, which is kind of what happened with that build. And then you just build into something else with the ability to melee afterwards. So it's like, it's not, you can see it now, like, because you're doing way more damage. So like, now you're just going in and using all that available damage you have, right? Using all that available damage you have. And then if like you win or get an initial pick, then you go there. So I can see why it would do well, and it would do well against Zarya. The only downside is, can your team make it to a certain point without getting mercy ruled by a Zarya? I think so. If you have, I think the survivability alone from D.Va should be able to enable that, right? I think at least. Weapon damage doesn't make melee better. Okay. Which I didn't think it did, but if it did, it would have been nice. But your melee is still going to be good because of the items you have. And you get the movement speed increase. So you can still use that part of your build while scaling into something new. Because, like, it's going way better for your team now. Like, you've become more, like, lethal on this. You can see it. You're doing way more damage. They can't really leave you alone. Like, but yeah, I don't know the exact numbers on whether things scale or not. You know, I'm sure that's up for discussion. I just don't have an answer for that, so I have no idea. But yeah, not bad. The next round. So round 5. Let's see what you decide to go with on round 5. So now we're going into the build again. So you get stat boost. Yeah, stat boost is, you know, I was doing this thing where I would go like the one that heals me because I felt like I needed to be more defensive. But I wonder if stat boost is actually, if stat boost ends up being the play round 5 here. Because you said you kind of feel like you perfected it. Because if you have stat boost, now you have more DM, which then coincides with everything else. You increased your damage even more by getting Codebreaker, which also ignores armor now, which is good against the Rhine, and you're keeping the rest of your abilities with the. So you have the Closer, you get more crit damage. It looks like you're giving up the anti-heal. So it looks like you're just going into more weapon power here with the Closer. Yes, and then you're at 80%, yeah. So you're getting rid of the anti-heal one that you had earlier, but you're trading off with, like, basically more, like, way more damage output. Yeah, I can see with, like, how quickly your DM can go up once you start using your abilities. That's really strong. Okay, I kind of like where this build's going. I like where the build's going. Then you go in, you start meleeing a little bit, so because you still have Gloom Gauntlet. You know, I just want to pause for a second. I think that's a little bit where I would go wrong sometimes in the build, is I would get rid of Gloom Gauntlet at some point. Actually, do you have Gloom Gauntlet still? Just to make sure I'm getting this right. You do. And I think this is where I would get rid of Gloom Gauntlet, but I didn't realize the 5% of max life over 2 seconds, that scales well, right? Because you're still getting the 5%. So if you do melees, okay, so you're saying that you tested weapon power with melee, it does, you were right, there you go. So now we're back to where the weapon power does work, which means that going weapon power with the melee would scale this well, right? So if melee scales with weapon power, then I think that's what, okay, it makes sense now. And that's why this build ends up working. Because a lot of the time, the suggestion was to go into ability power with missiles late game. but it wouldn't scale well if the Zarya has 100 bubbles, right? You can still melee now, and then you have a little bit of, like, a value from that first power, which usually would scale terribly, right? Okay, so it's making sense as to how it could work, is what I'm getting at here. Here we go. The Ana sitting crazy sleeps. Every time I hear that, I always think the Ana probably has the sleep ability. Because the sleep ability one, like, I think it takes more skill to miss with your sleep after you get that, like, increased hitbox one. Right? That's my... Well, I have to say that because I miss it all the time, so it makes me feel better when I miss the sleep. You know? Nope. You still have the D.Va one, but I think, like, in Legend, players get a little bit better at dealing with that after the first time of figuring it out. You're just gonna get the point. Yeah, they got off the point. All right, nice job. Out of curiosity, and maybe we could do an extension of this video later on, could you do me a favor when you get a chance? Would you find, like, a good game against a Zarya in Legend, too, also? I think it would be nice to maybe do, like, a double-part video of this where I also watch you play against Zarya at this rank and kind of how it goes, like, all that. And I'll let Crap know that you're going to do that, because I think it'd be cool to see, just not even just for me, but I think a lot of people want to see more, like, how to deal with a Zarya, and I think that'd be really cool to, like, kind of, like, learn from that, right? The build makes sense. Like, I'm seeing where your build goes, and I'm actually liking what you've done with weapon power. Maybe I should have put a little bit more time into going into the weapon power. Let's see how this last round goes, because this is the last round, which obviously is a spoiler to the victory or not, but it's good to see. So basically, the idea here is you scale into... Oh, wait, did I even look at your new ability items here? I don't think I did. We'll look very quickly. 80% weapon power. Oh, you got Rust Dunk. So just to show chat what happens here going into round 6, gets rid of the solo spec one, which is the one that, like, I think if you DM more, but, like, it probably doesn't scale well now anyway because you have, like, no ability power. So you replace it with Rust Dunk, which Rust Dunk now gives you 15% health, armor, shields, and then survivability when you get to a certain... More survivability when you get lower in HP. So, especially good for a map like Throne of Anubis, which is very close range. So, basically, getting rid of, a little bit of, like, that damage from the rockets, but you're going there. And then the way this build goes, you scale into weapon power rather than ability power. You can already see that survivability going into effect. Good backline pressure dive here. Can't really stay near point. If you can trade at least out on 2 players, maybe 1. One more player, you're going to be fine. You go back to help the Rhine. This is on PC, I'm pretty sure. Based off of just... Yeah, it's PC. Good job. Yeah, this is clean. I like this. Also, Dementor, thanks for the gifted sub. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Huge. Nice play. Yeah, I mean, like, you just become, like, really... It's almost like you do a ton of damage to the point where you're not... Okay, so what's really cool about this one, and this is what I think is fun about the build, you're tanky, you help your teammates with defense matrix. If you get to a round 7, you can get the heal one to help yourself more. And, like, their backline cannot ignore you. Right? Like, normally late game, you can ignore the D.Va. You cannot ignore the D.Va now with this build because of the weapon power. And you don't really waste your other power because you get to keep Gloom Gauntlet throughout for survivability. As I talk about survivability, you fall over. Good job going in. The nanos by the Ana have been great. Backline pressure is wonderful here. It's exactly what you need to do. You can't really contest the Rhine, but you can definitely contest their team. Mercy's forced to fly out and probably res, which is going to be good for your team at that point, you know? And I think, if I'm correct, should be close to a dub here. Go backline again on the Ashe. Yeah, and the thing is like, you know the other team's frustrated because the whole time you're just in their backline, and like they can't do anything about it. You just win. Nice job. Cool. So yeah, I you know, after watching that build, I can see why it's good. So to summarize, you go more into attack power, into like weapon power rather than ability power. You scale your defense matrix up so your defense matrix benefits you, and then you do a bunch of damage late game, also while having decent survivability. So really cool build. Thanks for showing that. It's a different change of pace, and it kind of opens my mind a little bit more to some of the build. And what I mean by it opens my mind more, like I never really thought about going into weapon power because I thought I might be a little bit too like paper mache, but I realized that the way that you're playing this, you're actually able to build off of that even more and give yourself a little bit of extra survivability for those late rounds. But I also would love to see some Zarya gameplay against that too. So I will try that next time I play D.Va, is the weapon power. And honestly, like, we don't even know what they're going to do for next season Stadium, so if Zarya gets nerfed in some way, this build could be really good too. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes. Thanks for showing that. If you like the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTubes if you haven't, leave a comment, all of it helps. And what else we got? If you want to watch the next video, watch them. They're good. Right there. Click the button. You'll see. Hope you have an amazing day / night.